beautiful people. Let's make sure we got the mic unmuted here. I think we're good. Welcome to today's stream. I hope you're all having a lovely day. Hope everyone's using the advice out there. Hope you're getting on, facing the anxiety, accepting the anxiety, leaving it alone, right? Letting these thoughts and feelings pass over you instead of getting so involved and worked up over them. That's what I hope you're doing today. But we're about to have a stream. Let's see who gets first in chat. Mint, what is up, Mint? Welcome to the stream. Today, we've got an interesting one in store. Olivia, welcome. Kenneth, welcome. Hope you're all doing lovely. So, you guys know that most of my inspiration behind my streams comes from what I see people chatting about. It's kind of how I base what I should talk about in my streams off of. If I see the community talking about it, then I feel the need to address it, right? If it is a concern among the community, then we do a stream about it. Edward, welcome to the stream. So I noticed some talk going on, right? I've noticed some talk going on about the varying degrees of sensitization. Some people asking, am I sensitized? Am I not sensitized? Some people saying, oh, I'm still sensitized. Some people saying, you know, just on and on and on. So today we're going to address the varying degrees of sensitization, and then we're going to answer the main question of today's stream, which is, does it matter? So I've thrown together a little chart here. You're going to see me looking up a lot today. I've wrote some things down. I threw a little chart together of four different varying degrees of sensitization, where we're going to kind of talk about each one. Now you can, if you want, you can throw yourself into one of these categories, but then at the end of that, we're going to answer the question, does it matter? Maddie said, I seen this coming. You know this was coming. You know this was coming. I base all of my streams, well, not all of them, but most of them, off of what I see my community talking about. And if my community is concerned about it, then I'm going to address it. That way we can get out of any damn rabbit holes that we're in, right? I like to keep you guys on the straight and narrow, keep you focused, keep you motivated, keep you out of the worry. So if I see you guys talking about it, we are going to address it. Oh my God, I never ever get first. Mint, you got first today. What is up, Truth? You knew it was coming, Maddie. You knew it was coming. What's up, Lacey? Hope you're doing wonderful. Wonderful to be here live. Thank you so very much for your kindness and wisdom. Thank you for being here, Arlene. I really appreciate it. Hope you're having a great, wonderful, beautiful day. We don't have to wait very long today to get started. Our afternoon chats always fill up pretty quick. So let's see. I will drop one link real quick to our chat if you want to join us. And then after that, we'll go ahead and just get started. Let's see here. There we go. So if you want to join us over there, there's the link. You should see it pop up in just a second. And we're going to go ahead and get this one started. We've already got some people in the chat. Let's go. So varying degrees. Take a deep breath for this one. Varying degrees of sensitization, and does it matter? So I wrote down a couple little categories here. Like I said, you can put yourself in one of these categories if you'd like, but this is just to give you a very rough overview of everything here. So the first thing I've got written down is completely sensitized. Now, if you are going to say that you are sensitized and you're going to say that you are completely sensitized, we're talking bottom of the barrel, right? If you say I'm completely sensitized, that means you are bottom of the barrel. There's no sort of acceptance being used. Your nerves are completely fried. Everything is triggering you. Everything just feels like an absolute teetotal mess, right? It feels like you're just a completely different person. You are sensitized. Everything seems to be triggering you, even the smallest of things, even in the most ridiculous of things could be triggering your nerves. And that's what it means to be completely 110% bottom of the barrel sensitized. Everything is triggering you, small things, big things, in the middle things, everything is setting your nerves off. You are completely sensitized. You are fried, right? Now that's completely sensitized. So the next thing I got written down is moderately sensitized. To be moderately sensitized means that you have some good days. Some good days are there. Some good moments are there, right? You have little moments that you would consider good, but for the most part, if you are moderately sensitized, you are still having mostly high anxiety days, right? You're having mostly high anxiety days. So Completely sensitized, bottom of the barrel. There's no sort of acceptance being used. You're not taking the edge off. You're just completely sensitized, worried, worried, worried. Everything is setting your nerves off, right? Then we kind of go from that. Pretty quickly, we can go from that. If we're using acceptance, we're leaving it all alone. We can go from completely sensitized to moderately sensitized, right? Which means, for the most part, you're still having high anxiety. You're still being triggered by a lot, but you're applying acceptance, right? You're starting to see some good moments, maybe some good days even, but for the most part, you're still very much having high anxiety, but you're using acceptance and you're starting to see some good moments here and there or some good days here and there. So from completely sensitized to moderately sensitized, then we moved on to mildly sensitized, right? We start to put in more of the work. We start to use more of the approach. Now we're getting to mildly sensitized. And out beside that, I have most days are good, right? But you still have waves of anxiety. So we go from completely sensitized, bottom of the barrel, no acceptance being used, nerves completely fried, everything's triggering you, moderately sensitized, which means you're starting to have some good moments, some good days maybe even, but for the most part, you're still very much in retraining. Then we move to mildly sensitized, where most days are starting to become good. You're starting to have really good moments. You're starting to have really good days, but you still have to face waves of anxiety, right? So now we're mildly sensitized. Then we move on to healed. All right, and I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. We move on to healed. You're no longer dealing with all these ridiculous triggers. You've kind of forgotten about the topic of anxiety. It's not so much of a dominating force in your life anymore. You're back to feeling like you used to feel, or even better, right? That's our goal. Even better than you used to feel. You're not really concerned about anxiety anymore. Your life has went back to pretty much normal, right? And that's what we've got for healed. So again, completely sensitized, bottom of the barrel, moderately sensitized. You have some good moments, some good days, but for the most part, you're still dealing with high anxiety. Mildly sensitized, which means most days are good, most moments are good, but you still have to face some waves of anxiety here and there. And then healed. You've pretty much moved on from the topic of anxiety. You're back to being more concerned about other things in your life, right? So 4 little stages there. Now, let's answer the question. And the reason, let's backtrack a little bit. The reason I have those 4 things there, completely, moderately, mildly, and healed, is because I see people using the term sensitization to describe any stage that they're in. So we could have somebody who's mildly sensitized, right? Which means they're having mostly good days, but they're throwing they're throwing the term sensitization around like it's candy on Halloween, right? Which can be confusing for people. So I've got somebody who's mildly sensitized, having mostly good days, right? But they're out there telling people, man, I'm sensitized, right? And then that makes other people think, man, you're still sensitized? You've been retraining and using acceptance for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, man, you're still sensitized? And then they get bummed and they're like, fuck, this is not working. The person who threw out that term and said, I'm still sensitized, they could have easily meant that they're mildly sensitized, right? And so you've got people on different wavelengths here. You got someone who's completely sensitized. We said that's the bottom of the barrel, not using acceptance, just totally fried. Talking to somebody who's mildly sensitized, which means they're having mostly good days. They've just got a little bit of retraining to do. These 2 people are talking. The one who's completely sensitized is thinking to themselves, damn, you're still sensitized and it's been this long. And the other person who's still sensitized is just mildly sensitized, right? So there's people on different wavelengths here, and it's making people confused. It's discouraging people, right? So if you're going to throw the term sensitization around, let's try to throw it around in the right way. Right? There is different varying degrees to sensitization, and I think we summed it up perfectly there. So, if you're going to throw that term around, make sure you throw it around in the correct way. If you're talking to someone who's completely sensitized and you're only mildly sensitized, you're having mostly good days, and you say to that person, yeah, I've been at it for about 2 months now, and I'm still sensitized, that other person's going to be like, what the fuck, right? They're going to start to get a little bit discouraged. So if we're going to use that term, let's use it correctly. Let's state where you're at, and that's why we've got those 4 things again. I'll list them one more time. Completely sensitized, bottom of the barrel, right? Not using acceptance, just fried. Moderately sensitized, some good moments, some good days. You're starting to use acceptance, but for the most part, you still deal with mostly high anxiety. Mildly sensitized means that most days are good. You're well on your way now, but you still have to face some waves of anxiety there. So, and then healed, right? Which means you've moved on from the subject. You no longer even really think about anxiety that much, and if you do, it doesn't bother you. So now that we've got that out of the way, I want my community to start. I want them to start, if they're going to discuss the term sensitization, I want them to start making it known where they're at, right? I don't want them to obsess about it, but I would at least like them to be clear about that. That way you're not accidentally discouraging somebody. So let's move on to does it matter. I want you guys to tell me in chat, do you think it matters? In fact, I'm not going to open my mouth anymore until I see it for myself. I want to know what chat thinks. Does it really matter? Now that we've kind of went over the different varying degrees of sensitization, does it really matter where you fall on that? Should you take that into consideration so much? Should you obsess about that? Or should you just keep using the advice regardless of where you are on that scale? I want chat to answer that. Should you just keep using the advice regardless of where you are on that scale? Or should you be really concerned about where you are on that scale? Should you be really concerned about it? Let's see. So does it matter, chat? Does it matter? Let's get some comments in to see if it matters. We're going to ask chat first. We're going to ask chat first. And while we wait for that, I want to make one more thing known. Can you kind of flip-flop back and forth between the different varying degrees of sensitization? Sure, maybe sometimes. Maybe you fall back into bad habits for a little bit, but you're able to pull yourself right back out, right? Does it mean you go back to square one? No. No, it doesn't mean you go back to square one. You can go from being mildly sensitized to maybe moderately sensitized because something really shook you up and you fell back into bad habits for a little bit, but it doesn't make a difference. You can hop right back on the horse and be back to mildly sensitized within a day, right? Whatever. So let's see what chat thinks. Doesn't matter. Maddie says nope. True says using the advice. Ghost says nah, it ain't gonna do anything. There you go. So chat knows it doesn't really matter where you fall on this scale of sensitization, whether you're completely fried, right, or whether you're mildly sensitized. You still got a little bit of work to do. It doesn't matter, because guess what? Why does it not matter, chat? Because the advice doesn't change. Now, if we had varying degrees of sensitization, and for each varying degree we had different advice, then it'd matter. But it doesn't, because we don't. The advice is the same for the completely sensitized person who hasn't been out of bed in 2 days. It's completely same for that person as it is for the person who's right around the corner from healing. Doesn't matter where you fall on the scale. But I know you're curious. We got curious people, right? So I wanted to make this stream to address that. However, at the end of the day, none of that really matters. That's good news. That's good news, because guess what? Now you don't have to overcomplicate it more than it needs to be overcomplicated. So whether you're completely sensitized, bottom of the barrel, or you're right around the corner from healing, or you're somewhere in the middle, the advice remains the same. It'll never be beneficial to fight with your anxious thoughts and feelings, whether you're completely sensitized or mildly sensitized. Doesn't matter. So really, we should cut the discussion of where we are on the scale, but I still wanted to give it out, put it out there just to kind of clear some things up. But at the end of the day, it does not really matter. Right? In fact, the term sensitization is used so loosely and in such a discouraging manner that really I think you should cut it from your vocabulary completely. Right? I've said the term sensitization so many times since I've started this channel that even saying it honestly makes me want to projectile vomit at this point. I think you should just cut it. This is my opinion, but I think you should just cut it from your vocabulary completely, because the advice doesn't change. Doesn't matter if you're completely sensitized or mildly sensitized. The advice doesn't change. This is good life advice, not just good anxiety advice. So honestly, my opinion, I think you should just chuck the entire term out the window. Right? Because when you get too caught up on terms, you start to obsess. And when you start to obsess, you're doing the opposite of accept. So to sit around and obsess about that term, or where you are on the list, or, not really a good idea, not really a beneficial idea, because the advice doesn't change. It just simply does not change. So there's really no point in it. Right? But I still felt the need to make this stream anyway, just to kind of clear the air on a few things. But there you go. There you go. Varying degrees of sensitization. Does it matter? No, not really. But again, my main point of making this stream is I didn't want to have someone who was completely sensitized talking to somebody else in the community, and the person they're talking to is only mildly sensitized, and they're like, yeah, I've been doing this for about a month, 2 months, and I'm still sensitized. They didn't make it known that they were just mildly sensitized, right? So the person who's completely sensitized start thinking, oh shit, right? So that's the main reason I wanted to make this stream. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Use the advice every single day. You shouldn't be worried about where you are on the scale. You should be more concerned about whether or not you're accepting what thoughts come, whether or not you're accepting what feelings come, whether or not you're still adding fuel to the fire. So when you get these intrusive thoughts, when you get these feelings, you let that storm pass without trying to figure it out. To figure it out means to get up into your mind and fight with these thoughts and fight with these feelings. If instead of doing that, you just kept the accepting inner voice of, you know what, I expected these thoughts to come, I expected these feelings to come, I'm going to mind my business while they do their thing, they do their thing while I do my thing, I'm no longer putting my hand in the pot here, right? You keep that accepting inner voice, that accepting attitude, aka not fighting with the thoughts and feelings and living your life, the two main keys. You do that, you'll be fine. Doesn't matter where you find yourself on the scale of sensitization. Doesn't matter if you're at the top, if you're at the bottom, if you're at the bottom, if you're at the top. Does not matter, right? So, my opinion, right, and you can either listen to me or not, but my opinion, I would completely erase the term sensitization from your vocabulary. I understand that we have to use it sometimes, right, to get our point across. But as far as being so concerned about that term, I wouldn't be. Because the advice just does not change regardless of where you find yourself on that scale. All right, so I know this was an interesting stream today. We don't normally tackle topics that are too out there, but this kind of feels like an out there topic, but it just feels like something that needed to be covered. Just a quick little point today that might help people get off that obsession that they have around that term sensitization, that absolutely demoralizing obsession about that term. Hopefully this will help people step off that train and just leave that term behind, all right? So that way you can stay focused on the objective and not so worried about this term. So with that being said, we're going to read some chat. If you did enjoy the point of today's stream, make sure you give the stream a like, guys. It really does help out. Let's move on over to post-stream, get some music going, and hang out with you beautiful people. Who we got in chat today? Make yourselves known. Make yourselves known. Feel free to talk to chat. We don't bite. We like to see new faces around here. While we wait on that, let's get some music going. We're gonna pick a different playlist today. We've been trying to mix it up the past few streams. Try to keep it interesting with some new music. So we're gonna pick a new playlist today. See how that goes. Hopefully it's not crap. All right, there we go. Great topic. I appreciate that, Perp. Hope you're doing well, Truth. You say I'm mildly good. Again, it doesn't matter, but, I just wanted to throw that out there. Between working so much and change of phones, I missed some live streams and had to leave the Discord for some time. However, I hope all is well with everyone. Well, welcome back, Jimmy. You're under... Oh, this is kind of loud. You're under no obligation to keep up with us. We completely understand. You take your time. Hope you're doing good today, Maddie. How are you guys? What's up, Belfast? How you doing? Great idea, Wonder Bro. I'm glad you agree, Truth. It's just no point to get caught up on terms. It really doesn't help. From now on, the S word is deleted from my vocabulary. In my opinion, man, that's the best thing you could do. Best thing you could do, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference at the end of the day where you find yourself on the sensitized scale. Hell, it doesn't even matter if you call yourself sensitized or not. The advice isn't going to change either way, so you might as well just drop that self-defeating term, right? Sometimes we have to use it to address the condition, but that doesn't mean you have to attach to that label. It's just a word that we use to refer to the state of being anxious, to the state of having some pathways to retrain. That's all it is. At the end of the day, people do get caught up on that term though, and it's just not beneficial. It's not helpful at all. Oh, you're good, JT. At rest is a real big issue with me. I can't seem to be able to chill. 24/7 anxiety. is overwhelming at times of rest. So at times of rest, you're probably in your head thinking, damn, I wish I could rest. And we want to switch that up. We want to have that accepting attitude. So if you're trying to rest and anxiety's there, that's okay. We want you to welcome that anxiety like you would welcome an old friend. We don't want you to try to push, pull, fight, argue, scratch, bite, kick, scream, right? We want you to simply say, yes, maybe it's a little annoying. We're not asking you to like it. We understand that. But we are asking you to not hate it so much. We are asking you to not push it away so much. So it's there, but you're going to keep the accepting inner voice. That's what Dr. Claire Weeks called it, right? Which means I'm going to say to myself, hey, these thoughts are there. I'm not going to try to figure it out. It is what it is. Going to let it play out, right? I can take the hit. The feelings are there, and you're going to say, okay, might be a little annoying, but I know what I got to do. I'm just going to keep my head on my shoulders here, not fall down the worry route, not fall down the freak out route. Going to let it do its thing. That's the accepting inner voice, and those were all just examples, right? But accepting inner voice, and then you go right back to watching TV or whatever it is that you're trying to do while you're relaxing, right? So the two main keys right there. Stop fighting with the thoughts and feelings, which is done mentally. Instead, we're going to have an accepting inner voice and live your life, right? So we're embracing the thoughts and feelings. We're just not adding to them with so much negativity. We're embracing the thought that says such and such bad thing might happen. We're embracing that, and we're saying, okay, but we're not trying to solve it. It's the trying to solve it that leads to the endless stress, the hamster wheel, the giving power to these things, right? What's up, D? What's up, Sherry? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, I really wanted to address, this topic. So I noticed that we're getting a lot of people joining late here, so we're going to briefly go over it one more time for those of you who are joining late. The varying degrees of sensitization. Completely sensitized is the first one I've got written down there, which means your nerves are basically fried, right? Everything seems to be triggering you. You're not really using acceptance. You're still fighting with it. Just completely fried nervous system. Moderately sensitized means that you have some good moments, some good days. You're starting to use acceptance, but for the most part, you still deal with high anxiety a lot of the time. Mildly sensitized means that most days are good, right? You still have waves of anxiety, but most days are good. And then we've got healed. So there was the different varying degrees of sensitization that we spoke about today. And then answering the main question here, does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where you find yourself on the scale because the advice doesn't change, right? And then we went on to talk about how you should probably just remove the term sensitization from your vocabulary altogether because it's not really needed. The advice doesn't change. Great day. Thank you. Haven't been able to catch last two lives. We've been busy with my grandbabies. Absolutely no problem, Sherry. No problem whatsoever. I'm so happy to finally make it. Welcome, Nikki. Happy to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Good stream today, guys. Good stream. Just a topic that I wanted to quickly cover. Let's go ahead and drop the link for the chat if anyone wants to join us over there. It's completely free to do so. We would treat that the same, JT. It never changes, right? It never changes. When we're talking about anxiety, when we're talking about these, whether it be physical symptoms or intrusive thoughts, the advice never changes. There's no different advice, right? We know that resistance is going to only make it worse. We know that resistance is just going to make it worse. We know that resistance is second fear. We know that second fear is worry. We know that worry sets off the brain, right? So we need to embrace the thoughts and feelings. We need to embrace the thoughts and feelings, not try to solve them. The mind's just going to come up with a million loopholes anyway. You're wasting your time. The more you try to solve these thoughts and feelings, okay, the more you just trigger the brain. So regardless of what anxiety symptoms you're dealing with, the advice doesn't change. It just simply does not ever change. Which is a good thing. It's a good thing. It would be super complicated if it did change, but it doesn't. Stayed in some situations today that would have freaked me out a few months ago. Nice. Nice. Kept moving forward despite symptoms and despite accidentally fueling a few times. It happens, but you get right back on track, right? It happens. Accidentally fueling doesn't mean failure. You're right, it doesn't mean failure. You can catch it and you can go back to the practice. You can catch the worry and turn it into, you know what, I'm not going to do that. Just going to accept these thoughts and feelings, going to see it right through. You can catch it, and as long as you're catching it, you're scoring points. So congrats. Sounds like a huge victory to me. Sounds like a huge victory to me. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. You're a different person from a few months ago, so imagine where you're going to be a few months from now. I mean, you know, this stuff just adds up. Don't put a time frame on yourself, of course. Don't do that, but all I'm saying is look at the progress. Look at the progress you made. It's excellent. Excellent, excellent. Anytime, you know, that's really the advice in a nutshell, man. Anytime you catch yourself up in your head trying to push away thoughts or feelings by arguing with them or planning with them or fighting with them, just remind yourself, accepting inner voice. You know what? I'm going to see it right through today, right? So you're giving yourself some accepting reminders, that accepting inner voice. Then you're going back to living, and you're rinse and repeating that. Unfortunately, I can't really give medication-related advice, Joe. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not a doctor, just your average dude who does this, who's been there, who's been sensitized, but I'm not a doctor. So I don't really give medication advice. That's something that you'd need to ask your doc about. Can't really touch on it. I'll say this, though. I will say this. You can use the advice regardless of what route you decide to go on that topic. You can use the advice. You probably should be. Finally clicked with you, Pedro. All right. I love it. I mean, that's the thing. You can know the advice for a while, but whether or not you're using it takes time, because sometimes you know the advice, but in the heat of the moment, you're still fighting with the thoughts and feelings. You're not using the accepting inner voice. You're not seeing it through. You're still fighting. So, you know, you can know the advice for a long, long time, but whether or not you're using it, that's a totally different subject. But I'm glad it finally clicked for you, dude. Congrats. Love to see all the success in the comments today. It's awesome, and it makes doing what I do totally worth it. 4 years ago, I thought I could just get the tools and go on and never watch the lives, etc. I now realize I was only using... Yeah. So that's exactly what we were just talking about. You can know the advice for a very long time, but in the heat of the moment, when those thoughts and feelings are there, are you still trying to argue with them? Are you still up in your head trying to solve them and figure them out? Or are you using the accepting inner voice, aka not fighting with the thoughts and feelings and just living your life, the two main keys? So you can know about it, but are you using it, right? That's a big question, and if people are honest with themselves, they'll come to the conclusion that, yeah, you're right, Wonder Bro, you know, I've known it, but I'm not necessarily using it. And, you know, if you do come to that conclusion, that's fine. That's great. It's great that you've come to that conclusion. Don't be frustrated over that. You can say to yourself, I've come to the conclusion that every time I get these thoughts and feelings, I'm still in my head trying to have an escape plan or figure them out or fight with them. I'm not using the accepting inner voice. That's great news, because that means you can start. Right? That means you can start, which means that's exciting. That's exciting news, because now we can start to get some shit done, right? So not a bad thing at all. I remember when I first came to that conclusion, I was like, damn, I'm still fighting. You know, I wanted to be frustrated to myself, but quickly I was like, you know what? That's exciting. That's exciting. It's exciting news, because now I can start actually using acceptance, right? Things can start to change now that I'm being honest with myself. Absolutely, Sherry. Keep it up. Mornings seem to be getting better. Awesome to hear, Truth. Keep doing it. It's the real deal, man. Absolutely. Love to see all the success in the comments today. It's truly uplifting, and I'm sure it helps other people. So thank you for that. Also, thank you for subscribing, D. I appreciate it, man. We just passed 10.4K subscribers. So if you're thinking about subscribing, here's your sign. Here's your sign. Here is your sign, man. Hit that subscribe button. You couldn't ask for a clear sign on whether or not you should subscribe than this right here. So good stream today, guys. Good stream. Now you're just waiting on more chances to use it, Sherry. That's what I like to hear. Hopefully catch you next time. Have a great rest of your day, Sherry. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You are awesome. Keep hearing like a big truck outside. I'm trying to look out my window. Is that the Ups man? I can't tell. Maybe he just left. Did I get a package? Did I get a package? I don't know. Guess we'll find out in a little bit. Getting excited about recovery is an awesome little tool that you can have in your toolbox. So just like Sherry said there, I'm just waiting, she said. I'm just waiting for the next opportunity to use this shit. I'm just waiting for the next intrusive thought to come that wants to freak me out. I'm just waiting for the symptoms. I'm just waiting, man, because I'm going to see it right through. I'm not going to try to fight with it, argue with it. I'm just going to keep that accepting inner voice, and I'm going to watch it die. I'm going to watch this shit die right before my eyes, and I'm going to gain that confidence, right? So getting excited to use these skills is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful approach to take. What's up, Travis? How you doing, dude? I came a long way. Doesn't bother me anymore. DPDR came a long way thanks to accepting, and it's been magical. Absolutely love all the success that we're hearing today. That's like the 5th success comment that we've had today. Come on, guys. What are you waiting for? Right? What are you waiting for? Take a look around, man. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Look at all the success that we've had in this community, right? Almost every other stream we get people in here saying how their life has changed. What are you waiting for? It's time to see these thoughts and feelings right through. Drop the argument. Drop the fight. When that thought is there, you say, okay, you're allowed to be here. I'm going to see you right through. I'm going to see what happens. When that feeling's there, all right, you're allowed to be. Get back to living. What are you waiting for, man? Look at all the success. Come on. We're waiting for you. We're waiting for you to join us over here. Seems like you're definitely making progress, D. Just keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. But after applying that acceptance that night, anxiety has disappeared. Keep it going, man. Keep it going. Rewriting these pathways. That's what you're doing. Rewriting these pathways. Rewriting those fear pathways. Love to see it. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. You guys are so awesome. You guys are so awesome. You're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me cry. Hey man, you're getting your lives back. Moment by moment, step by step, you're getting your lives back. You just gotta keep it up. You just got to keep it up. There's no reason to stop now. There's no reason to stop now. Do what Sherry said, man. Get excited for these opportunities. Don't dread the next time an intrusive thought comes. Don't dread the next time high symptoms come. Look forward to it, man. This is literally, you're shaping your entire future. You're shaping your entire life in these moments. That's not something to be upset about. We want to change the entire mindset from upset to excited. Put in the work. And what is the work? Just seeing it right through. The thoughts there, you say okay. The feelings there, you say okay. You drop the trying to figure out, solve, fight, and argue. You just say okay, you're allowed to be, and you go back to living. You see it right through, right? That's what Dr. Claire Weeks said. I quote, see it right through. Get excited for that, man. There's no reason you shouldn't be excited for that. Look forward to these opportunities. Don't dread them. We want a total change in mindset here. We want a total change in attitude. You got to have that change in attitude. Adrenaline firing your nerves. That's a good way to describe it, JT. Head pressure is a very, very common symptom with anxiety. Of course, I can't diagnose, but I can say that that's a very common symptom of anxiety. Very, very common. If you pulled up a list of anxiety symptoms, which I'm sure you all have when you use Dr. Google, right? Hopefully no more of that. But if you pull up a list, I'm sure you'll see head pressure and headaches right up there at the top. Almost on just about every list you pull up. But I think you described it very well, JT. Chemicals being released in your body, especially adrenaline. All right, hold on just a second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm going to get something to drink really quick. All right, beautiful people. Pardon the interruption there. All right, so you've already been checked out, JT. Definitely got some chill lo-fi going today, man. Definitely got some chill lo-fi, and we're going to put some people to sleep today. Glad you're doing so much better, Truth. Keep it up. Keep it up, D. Keep it up, man. Hey, that's a good way to put it, man. Acceptance instead of obsession. You should get that tattooed on your forearm. Just as a reminder. Don't actually do that, but I do like the saying. I like the saying very much. Very, very much. How many people in chat has had strawberry milk? I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's my favorite. You can't go wrong with some Nesquik strawberry milk. In fact, I've drank so much of it today that I'm starting to get a tummy ache, so maybe I should cut it out. It's good shit, man. It's good shit. Hey, we got a couple new people join us over in the Discord chat. Nice. Let's drop that link again, man. Let's drop it again. It's completely free to join us over there. It's a good community. Oop, I had the wrong link copied. Hold on. Oh yeah, I've told you that before, haven't I, Matt? Interested to hear your take on this. What you got for me, Matt? What you got for me? I'll give you my take on it. Can't promise you'll like it, but I'll give it to you. Any tips on the nausea and headaches? I know it's going to sound like I'm a broken record over here, but any anxiety symptoms, man, resistance is futile. What you resist tends to persist, right? How many people have heard that old saying? Just like Mint said in the chat there, acceptance instead of obsession. So any anxiety symptoms that come along, I understand that you're not going to necessarily like them. I'm not asking you to like them. I'm not asking you to jump up and joy about them. But what I am saying is, right, resistance is futile. So although it's not fun, nobody's saying it's fun to have a headache. Nobody likes a headache, right? Nobody's saying it's fun to be nauseated. Nobody likes that feeling, right? But at the same time, if you start to freak about it, that's where we need to practice that accepting inner voice. Leave these thoughts and feelings alone. Let them run their course while we live life, right? I think she's typing something else. I'm not sure. Unless she was asking what my take on getting those tattoos was. In that case, don't do it. Don't do it. It's just a joke. But I think she's typing something else. Yeah, here we go. Needed a power nap today. Instead of setting a phone alarm with its sharp sounds, I searched up a 15-minute nap vid and clicked the first one. Figured the video would have a nicer wake-up sound than the alarm. I think there's more to that comment coming, so we'll hold off for a second. However, apparently it was some kind of magic sound thing that because there was a low buzzing noise throughout, and it started to make my body incredibly relaxed, and I felt more and more drowsy. So I think I see without you even finishing here what you're getting at. Are you looking to get my opinion on like those relaxation videos that people make, kind of like the ASMR stuff? Is that what you're asking me my opinion on? So I got anxious because like, what is this? I don't believe in magic sounds. So there's a thing out there that exists that called it's called, what is it called? Buy something beats. Apparently certain sound waves, certain frequencies, brain waves, right? That can make you feel more relaxed. Probably wouldn't use it as a coping method, obviously, but to sleep or maybe to feel more relaxed as you sleep, I don't see the problem with that. So I couldn't sleep because I was so nervous about letting control. It was hilarious and stupid. So I'm sure in your mind you were going down a little bit of a rabbit hole about, oh God, you know, what are these magical beats doing to me? I wouldn't take it that far. I wouldn't be that concerned about it. There is such a thing as relaxation tapes or relaxation beats. Has something to do. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it myself, but has something to do with certain brain waves and frequencies that make you feel more relaxed. Obviously, not a good coping method. It's not going to work. But as far as just relaxation goes, I don't see the harm in it. If that's something you want to do, if not, okay. If so, okay. But yeah, I can imagine. You went down a rabbit hole about magical beats. Not that big of a deal. There's apparently some sort of science behind it with the frequencies and the brain waves, and I don't see any harm in it whatsoever. I mean, from the little bit of research that I've done about it, I don't see it, there's no harm in it. It's a pretty harmless theory behind the brain waves and certain frequencies that make you feel more relaxed. So there's no harm in it, in my opinion. Wouldn't use it as a coping method, of course. But if you want to throw on some relaxing beats just to chill to, I mean, I've done that before. Yeah, I can see your underlying fear there. You're afraid of anything that might take control away from you. So acceptance, which, by the way, you're not alone on that, man. Everybody who fights with their anxiety, their symptoms, and their thoughts, it's because they're a control freak. Let's just be honest. That's like the underlying issue for everybody. It's control freak. So, practicing acceptance is helping you deal with that. It's helping you get kind of rid of that trait. I mean, I throw on like lo-fi beats all the time, and I've used the frequency beats for like pain and stuff before. I can't say they actually made a huge difference, but I gave them a try. I remember one time I had a pretty bad toothache, and there was no way for me to get it taken care of right away. So I used some of those beats that was supposed to help for tooth pain with the brain waves and the frequencies and stuff. And I used headphones. I can't say I've seen much of a difference. That's my experience with it. I believe it's, I don't want to say this name wrong. Oliver with the $10 Cash App. I hope I'm saying that right. Says, thank you for what you do. Thank you so much, Oliver. I appreciate you in the $10 Cash App. I don't think that's Olivia. I think it's Oliver. So Oliver, correct me if I'm wrong, please. But thank you so much for the $10 Cash App. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can we get a round of applause in the chat, please? Yeah, I think you're onto something, Truth. I think it's more of a, it's more of just like kind of like a little bit of trickery that goes into that mind over matter sort of deal. I don't think the frequencies or the brain waves and those beats actually make a huge difference by themselves. I think it's more of a sugar pill type of thing. But I could be wrong about that. I'm not, well educated and all that. I will say that I don't see the harm in it. And I'll also say that I wouldn't use it as a coping method, of course, but that's really all I know about it. Yeah, being a control freak is a good way. Yeah. Being a control freak, I mean, it's you're trying to get the thoughts to go away. You're trying to get the feelings to go away. And this all kind of stems from being a bit of a control freak, which I'm not trying to be down on anybody. We've all had that problem, myself included. It's, you try to control the thoughts and feelings, where if you just leave them alone and keep the accepting inner voice, they'll take care of themselves, right? But as long as you're trying to get control in there, you're just stirring the pot, man. You're just making it so much worse. You're just sending those boom, boom, boom danger signals, right? you're making it worse. You're keeping yourself in the cycle. You don't realize that at first, but now that you're here on the channel, now you'll see that when you try to fight with these thoughts and feelings, you're just telling the brain, danger, 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 right? And that's keeping the amygdala fired up. So, you know, to reverse that, we start to use acceptance. Well, there's also, you know, there's also the fact that calming music is calming music, right? And if you're not trying to use it to get rid of anxiety, because if you do that, then you're just fighting with the anxiety, and that's a sure way to make it, you know, worse on yourself. But if you're just using it to relax, like if you're coming into it with the mindset, okay, I'm going to lay down, relax to some nice beats here, right? And you're just kind of in that mindset, and you got some calming music going on, that'd make anybody sleepy, I believe. I know that this lo-fi that I play in the background here on the streams sometimes has me feeling drowsy because it's just nice, relaxing music. I think that has that effect on the brain. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes these beats we be playing on the channel has me feeling sleepy. A low, annoying buzzing. I think I know what you're referring to. Ghost said it earlier in the chat. Like I said, I've tried one of those Beats videos for like physical pain. Didn't see much of a difference, but I don't know. Maybe, well, there's no way for you to send me a link, but maybe tonight I'll throw on some of those. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we're not endorsing magic sounds for anxiety or anything.